What's up, everybody? Welcome to the PKT Packet Community Roundtable Live. We got a really exciting show for you guys today. Excuse my voice; I'm a little under the weather. We have our friends from Apeflix on the live today. We got Josh Berger, Caleb James Delisle, and my name's Jeremy Berger. How you guys doing?
Doing good. Doing really good.
Oh, good. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, happy to see markets are in the positive today. So that's always a good feeling when you wake up.
Yeah.
When's the inauguration? Is it the 19th or 20th?
It's the 20th. So
big day.
Yeah. Big day for
crypto.
Yeah, crypto. We're all ready for it. So but yeah, we're excited for everybody to be here today. If you're just joining us, if you can hop on to X and do a repost, share it with your communities. Let's push this thing far and wide. And yeah, I know Josh has some pretty exciting announcements. There's a lot of cool things happening within the ecosystem. And yeah, I'd love to dive into the collaboration with Apeflix. But maybe, Zach, you want to do a quick little intro on who you are? And so that our community kind of get an idea.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me, first of all, and obviously very excited about the collaboration that we're working on. I'm the CEO of Apeflix. I have a decade experience in the film industry. The first half of my career, I was head of digital at one of the UK's largest distributors, managing a library of over 1,500 films, forging partnerships with all the major digital platforms. And then before that, after that, I transitioned into international sales. So I would attend all the major film festivals, selling content and nurturing a global network of buyers and distributors, which should put me in a perfect place to deliver what we're trying to achieve on Apeflix, which is the first premium advertisement video on demand application on Telegram. So fusing meme culture with blockbuster movies and rewarding people for watching the adverts in between the content.
Awesome. Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Kind of fits perfect in with what we're building with the hub and all the amazing stuff that's happening right now. So Josh,
I know you guys have some good pedigree in the film industry as well, so very excited to work together.
Yeah, no, definitely. I love what you're doing, and yeah, just people that are trying to be disruptive on the way that content gets distributed, I think is super important.
Yeah, bear with me real quick. I'm going to go push this out to our community. Josh, why don't you kind of jump in and get the conversation.
Well, I guess we can kind of get into the big announcement today, which is pretty exciting stuff. We've been working really hard on building a use case for the Packet network. And, when we first got into this space, I, as you were saying, my background's in the film business, and being able to really change the way that content gets distributed has been a big passion, just being able making these films, seeing how broken the film business that I love is, and the requirements that are needed to be able to just change the way that people are consuming content. And the whole entire kind of space has changed, but the business model hasn't, and people are very stuck in this old business model. And so that's been really exciting for us, is to be able to change the way that this business model works. And we've been really just trying to figure out how to do that. And it's how we ran into Caleb so many years ago, was trying to figure out, if you're going to go disrupt this business, are you going to do it on the back of Amazon? Are you going to go and disrupt Amazon by using Amazon's technology, and so we had always just really sought out another solution, and that had brought us to find Caleb in the hidden in France. And And so obviously the network had to be built over all these years, and there's been incredible expansions, and this movement over to base has really given us that facility to incentivize the growth of this network and all the technology that's been built over the last years. And so today, what I'm really excited about is we've been building the Packet Hub. And this is an ecosystem for discovery where people can find these amazing streaming platforms, can find amazing, gaming and music and movies and all these platforms that attempt to be disruptive. But if you want to be able to reach audience, you have to go through these major incumbents like Apple and Amazon to be able to even just get your platform listed. And so what we've been building with the Packet Hub is this ecosystem for discovery where high tides can rise all ship, and Apeflix has their community, and other streaming platforms have their communities, and together we can all come together and really be a beacon for change. So before I go and release that, Jess, do you have anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, you said it perfectly. The hub has definitely been a passion project for us for many, many years at this point, and this is really just the visualization of that reality. And the goal really is to provide an alternative, Apple TV like experience. And we'll talk a little bit about some of the features and functionality of this hub and also some of the roadmap around it. But yeah, the vision here is that there is obviously the majors, if you have the opportunity to be distributed by a major or to work with, one of the most dynamic and frequented media platforms, even if it's like YouTube. There's a lot of YouTube creators making millions of dollars, working with YouTube. So they're not going to be, eager to go move to another platform and start over. But for the people who don't have these same opportunities as the incumbents, or don't have access to the incumbents in the same way that some of the other major players in the game do, there's a lot of really, really powerful up and coming opportunities out there. And so this was a way to both highlight on the discovery side of things for people to find those platforms, but also to empower the content creators to have alternative distribution opportunities where, there's better economics, where there's better opportunity for being discovered. Because even if, for instance, you do get on a Netflix or Amazon, it's like, how is anyone even going to find you there? And so there really is a huge opportunity for bringing forth and highlighting these platforms, projects, entrepreneurs that are passionate about making a change. And the CJDNS network and where Packet Network is now going provides the backbone for this type of project to be realized. And now that the network is growing, it's the perfect time to start actually bringing forth utility.
And it's really interesting that you mention Amazon, because we all know in the industry that they have essentially a black box algorithm. I was brought into a room about 4 years ago by Amazon to say, you're in our top 10 distributor list now. So we will push your content ahead in the algorithm, ahead of your competitors that aren't in that top 10 list. So what you're talking to, for me, as a distributor, just makes complete sense, because if you're not in that top 10 and you're not going through one of the big boys, how are you going to get found? So this is a fantastic opportunity for content creators to get their name out there.
Yeah, totally. All right, Jeremy, you want to pull up the hub? Yeah, so this is the hub. This is actually on top of the Packet network. And so the way you're accessing this is through a reverse VPN. So this is actually inside of the Packet network, what we've all been building, what the community has been staking and running CJDNS infrastructure. This is utilizing staked domains. And so this kind of encompasses what is possible with the Packet network. And that's what's been so exciting about this is we have the active community that's engaged in creating this whole network, and on top of that network you can build whatever you want, and we've really been leaning in to creating this ecosystem for discovery. And so if you look at this page, you can see that there's multiple categories, and these categories are the different places where you can find the stuff that you're interested in. And so on the homepage here, we have a what's hot and a what's new category. And so this is a place where you can discover what's hot and what's new, and be able to find new projects that are in a variety of different categories. And so if you go to, for instance, the media category, you will be able to see all the different media platforms in that category as well. And you're going to see the platforms that you're used to as well. And the whole point of this is not to just say, hey, here's all the stuff that you've never heard of. It's to be able to put the stuff that you've never heard of next to the stuff that you're familiar with, so that you can have a central place where all of that's possible. And anybody that has a platform can submit a channel, and they're able to upload their information and be able to join the hub. And so this is an ecosystem where you can take your platforms that you're passionate about, that you've invested time, money, effort into, and you can go and put it into this ecosystem and become discovered on a global basis.
Yeah, there's a couple other really exciting features of this that directly relate to the Packet cryptocurrency, and we'll talk a little bit about that in a moment. But I first just wanted to go through the categories here and give people an understanding of, why these categories were included. Of course, this can scale to additional categories, but the basis was to identify a couple key categories that there's a lot of innovation happening in, and whereby these platforms are also ways for people to engage that can really benefit from the global access of the CJDNS and Packet networks, global accessibility, and kind of also subverting some of the geofencing. Now, we know that geofencing is super important for content. Zach, coming from the foreign sales, international distribution side of the business, that regional distribution is key to that business. But the other side of regional distribution is that it also limits distribution, and you'll have people getting distribution rights in certain territories, but then there's places in the world where that content isn't accessible, and that's super unfortunate, especially for people who don't land a major global distributor. Obviously, if your alternative was to get global distribution, you would take it. And then if you don't get that, you kind of don't want, you need to take regional distribution so you can make some money, but it's like, you obviously want your content to be viewed around the world. So being that the CJDNS network is globally accessible and doesn't use, geofencing, there's an opportunity for content to truly be discoverable on a global basis. And so from a category standpoint, we have media. Media, this is like, film and television. So you'll see, platforms like, Netflix and Amazon here, but you also see a platform like Monster Children, MCTV right there, Monster Children Television, which is distributing content mostly in the action sports space, but is starting to get into some narratives. Has a wonderful platform with pure play revenues. So, very compelling value proposition for people looking for distribution, how you can actually get access to a platform where your content can be not only accessible, but where there's a paywall and you can make money off of your content and know that you're going to have transparency on the revenue without needing to wait for, Apple to take their massive cut and then maybe send you a royalty statement, 3 or 6 months, 12 months later. So this becomes like real viable alternatives. And we hope to see, dozens of additional alternative distribution platforms, which essentially function as, outlets for content creators to bring their content for distribution. So that, for example, let's say you do make a film and you go to a film festival like South by Southwest or Sundance, and you don't get picked up by Netflix. They don't give you the, $5 million payday that you and your investors were hoping to get. What do you do next? And so we believe that the hub can be a place people could come and say, all right, well, let me hit up all these various different platforms here and inquire into the opportunity for distribution, what the economics are and what the distribution opportunity are and what the marketing could look like, and try and understand what alternative distribution can actually become without resorting to just putting it on YouTube for free, right? Or just putting it up on Vimeo, and being one of millions and millions of pieces of content that you're just hoping someone's going to find. So that's really an exciting aspect here. The next category that we have is music. Music is a place that's ripe for innovation. There's quite a bit of new platforms emerging. Obviously, Spotify, you would say, is like a market leader. YouTube Music, Apple Music, like these are the incumbents, but the economics suck. And there's platforms like Audius that are changing the game, blockchain enabled, making sure that more of the money is going back to the content creators. There's Tune FM, who's got a similar value proposition, and really looking towards innovation. So artists can distribute your content, no problem, put it on Spotify, but you should also put it on Tune FM, where you're getting 10x more money than you would on Spotify. You might not have as big of a reach and audience, but you're going to get paid more, and they're not mutually exclusive. So this really helps artists identify additional places where they can do business, where they can distribute their catalog and make money without just believing that the only place to do business is YouTube and Spotify, right? And so, being that the Packet Hub is designed to be a platform for discovery, the opportunity here is for audiences around the world to both come here to discover platforms, discover new content, and for creators to come here and use this as a tool and a vehicle to gain distribution, alternative distribution, or not just being that it's alternative, but to be ancillary. If you are, let's say, a major artist and you're already making all of your money on the majors, then why not make ancillary revenue on some of these minors, right? So yeah, Josh, do you want to talk about the next couple?
Yeah, getting into gaming is the next one, and what I actually really love about this is, and this is just a fraction of the games that are out there, but there's so many play to earn games and crypto games that are out there, but where do you find them all? I haven't been able to find a place that you can go and find all these cool games that are out there. And so this is the gaming one, and if you go to the casino tab as well, what's also cool about casino is that you're able to access these on a global basis. And so some of them work, all over the place, but you can actually go and access these within the Packet network, without geolocation. And so being able to gain access to these different casino platforms or gambling platforms or gaming platforms, that becomes just really useful and amazing to open it up to a global audience. And I think we always think like within our small little bubble, and we don't realize, especially here in America, we're like kind of off in our own little world over here. But when you look at just the rest of the world and being able to access the global audience, I was reading about Roku last night, and Roku is about taking, foreign projects and platforms and being able to expose them to a US market, but who's doing that on the other direction and being able to drive people back to, or driving US platforms to the rest of the world, and who's connecting global audiences together where you're not just pigeonholed based off of your location. And so that gets me really excited about these different categories and being able to bring a global audience together. So if you go to the technology tab next, this is, just a drop in the bucket, but we really wanted to include these different technology platforms that are out there. And yeah, maybe this isn't exactly, media per se, but there's a lot of really special projects in the world that are being created. And where do you discover them? The real place that you're discovering this stuff is you're going onto, Coin Market Cap, and you're looking through an exhaustive list of all these different websites, and you're really just doing that to trade. And that's all cool to go and trade crypto. But what about the technology that these platforms are building? How do you discover the actual utility of these amazing pieces of technology? And so we wanted to really include that in this ecosystem so that we could create utility for this industry that we love, of the blockchain crypto industry. And this is that ecosystem where you can discover stuff.
Yeah, I want to just touch on that because I think that's super important. With crypto in particular, it's very uh, it's very esoteric for most people. Like if you're in the community, if you're in crypto in particular, like you get it. You know who the major projects are. You know who the major players are. You're reading the news. You're in crypto Twitter. Like you kind of are able to follow along. But if you're not one of the people that have become accustomed to what's happening in the cryptocurrency world, to Josh's point, like the only place that you're going to find this content about who are those players is Coin Market Cap, or if you just hear about it, adjacently on the news. Now with for example, XRP, now has a market cap that's worth more than BlackRock as of today. It's like XRP's, heading on a pathway to flipping the market cap of Ethereum. So XRP is about to be in the news, like significantly. And people are going to start hearing about XRP. But over the last couple of years, like if you weren't in crypto, like you have no idea what XRP is. You don't know what Ripple is. And there's thousands of other projects. But I was going to say dozens of other kind of, you could say, majors with, tens of billions of dollars market cap. And in addition to whatever the speculative trading side of cryptocurrencies look like these are truly innovative platforms, and there's incredible opportunity being developed here on the technological front. We know that Trump is looking to make the United States a bastion for crypto and technology innovation, whereas the current administration has been incredibly tough and adversarial against technology innovations, particularly in the crypto space. And so with this, change of the guard that's happening on Monday in the United States, there's an incredible opportunity now to highlight these projects. Again, these you could say blue chip crypto projects that are really looking towards changing the game, building bridges. We have cross-chain layer twos. We have gaming innovation. I mean, there's just so much technology that's being built, and where are people going to discover it? With the hub being a platform for discovery, we hope to see crypto projects wanting to use this as a platform to highlight their offerings, build bridges between one another, and continue to grow this ecosystem that we're incredibly passionate about.
Yeah, it's fantastic, James. Do you think you'll curate the content?
Yeah, well, that's actually what I wanted to bring you into the conversation on is, whether the hub itself is about discovering the platforms, but being able to give the platform to platforms like yours, where you get to curate the content and you get to do what your platform is best at. And we don't have to be a competitor to you. We get to empower you into doing, your best work and what you're good at. That's what I really love about this is there's no competition here. It's maybe we're competing with an Apple TV, if anything, but the real power of this is empowering platforms to be able to have a voice and to be able to do what they're good at. And so that's really the essence of what this is doing. And then, looking at kind of your platform, I guess I've pushed the question over to you is like, what is your kind of content strategy and how do you plan on really just, separating yourself from the rest of the world?
Yeah, I mean, you said the word empowering there. I often use that in my pitch because we're empowering the end user by rewarding them for their time and attention. So for a long time, the big boys have been selling your data with no reward. Where now we're saying if you sit and watch an advert in between the film, you can you will be rewarded with loyalty points for doing so, and those loyalty points are redeemable at over 2,500 household brands. Nike, Uber, Adidas, we have those real world vouchers in place. But we certainly want to curate our content. We want premium content only, and there's a few reasons behind that. And obviously, we can charge a little bit more bang for our buck when it comes to the advertisers to be associated with A-level cast. But equally, we want to try and bring in the consumers and be known for premium content and really concentrate on that, because I don't think it's been done really yet in the Web3 space. As I'm sure you'll know, premium content licensing is a minefield, and you spoke a little bit about it earlier with geo-blocking, because I know the guy that owns John Wick 4 in the Middle East isn't the same guy as in Germany or the UK. It's difficult, but you have to have those contacts to know who's got the license to the content. So that's why we're maybe approaching it in a little bit of a different way and focusing on one territory in particular first and putting all our efforts into an MVP in India instead of trying to take on the entire world, which, as we know, it's a bit of a nightmare because there's so many people owning different licensing. So I do think the way that you approach it needs to be territory by territory. And people forget it took Netflix, should I say, 10 years to become worldwide.
You're absolutely right.
Honing on a territory, yeah.
Yeah, look, and we understand, that each business is going to have unique, issues, and so within the context of each one of these tiles, that individual business will govern their own business, and the hub is really just meant to be a platform. So the hub doesn't need to influence the individual business models of the projects, companies, and creators that are featured here. It's just to provide people with a vehicle for discovery, like we said. So so let's talk a little bit about how this dovetails into the Packet Cash project in particular. I can kind of kick that off, and we'll talk a little bit about how this really we believe this can benefit and bring greater utility to Packet network and the Packet project in particular. So the first thing that I'll bring up, Josh, do you want to jump in first?
Well, I just want to add one thing before we get into the Packet project. Sure. Is that the cool thing about this thing is that it's not just Web3 based. By the Packet network being a network, it's payment agnostic. You can use PayPal on the network. You can use anything that you want on the network. And so this brings Web 2 and Web 3 together so that audience isn't making a decision, oh, I want to look at Web 3 stuff. Oh, I want to look at Web 2 stuff. It's bringing it all together under one thing where this is where it all exists and it's all possible. And that's really what we're trying to do, is blur the lines between like, oh, you're a crypto project. Oh, you're a regular, e-commerce business. It's like being able to blur that all together where like, this is the future of the internet and this is where we're going. And this blends that all together into a single place. And now the crypto side of it is what makes it all possible and what makes it exciting. And we can dovetail into that now.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Now, one of the other pieces to this is how do we bridge people over to the world of cryptocurrency? People that are in the traditional business world, people who are used to when they make a payment, sending a wire transfer or writing a check, and the I believe that the Coinbase wallet and the MetaMask wallets have really lowered the barrier to entry for people to get into crypto. Actually, Phantom Wallet is incredible too. I would say those three wallets for me have really been game changer. Um, I'm particularly compelled by the Phantom Wallet UI and the Coinbase Wallet UI. It's just made it so easy to onboard, few clicks and you have a wallet. The UI is fantastic. And I really believe that that's simplified how a lot of people are getting into crypto. I think that's how the Solana ecosystem has really begun to explode over the last 12 months is some of the innovation on wallet technology. And same thing with where I see the base ecosystem going with the quality of the Coinbase wallet in particular. And what you'll notice is that both of these wallets also have browsers built. All three of these wallets have browsers built into them. And what that does is it allows people to actually navigate to a website from within the wallet app, and then by accessing the website using the wallet app browser, then it's easy to connect your wallet to that website page. And once you're connecting a wallet to a website, and again, from like the total standpoint of a normie who might have never done that, might not even know what we're talking about. But the second you do connect a wallet, a Web3 wallet to a website, a whole world of potential opens up. Potential, functionality, opportunity. It really begins to open up at that moment, and things become possible. So it becomes possible to make money. It becomes possible to own your data. There's a lot of identity technology that's emerging in the cryptocurrency space, and that gets tied to your wallet. It gives you the potential for ownership. So whether, let's say, you own a film and the ownership of that movie is based on you having the files for it on your computer and you being the creator of it, cool. But the second that you put that on chain, like you have the actual like notarized ownership of it. It really demarks your actual digital ownership, as well as the ability to not only transfer it, but to be remunerated for a transaction to kind of seamlessly take place while you transfer ownership of something. And that's incredibly powerful. And as more people have that experience, I truly believe that's where we're going to see, innovation begin to take off, and adoption, I should say, really begin to take off, is where people are like, oh shoot, I actually own this, and there's a digital representation of my ownership, and it makes it easy for me to transfer my ownership, sell my ownership of something, earn based on my ownership of something, like for instance, earning interest on maybe a certain holdings or the holdings of an asset, right? So these are realities that I think we're going to see really start to proliferate. And I believe that this wallet technology is what's changing the game to make that possible. Now, how does that relate to the hub? Well, with the hub, it just launched today. The way that people will get content, get like your platform, if you're an entrepreneur and you're like, yeah, I should just be on the hub, why not? Yes, you'll just submit and you'll just be able to get your platform listed. Now, there's going to be obviously some curation that's going to emerge here. Obviously, we want to make sure, in this early phase, that there's not, nefarious, illegal, terrorist-based type content and things emerging here out of the gate. The caveat, though, is that we do want to move towards decentralizing the way that people can get content onto this, or at least creating some rails, some very particular rails for how content can get on here. And so some of the criterias, in fact, Caleb, who's here with us today, had started to imagine ways for people to, essentially submit their project to, in doing so, add the graphic the metadata that would be associated, with your logo in terms of category and other information, and then to be able to actually incentivize people to hold packet, and based on the amount of packet that you hold will help drive your positioning on the hub. So it actually will encourage people to hold packet as in their own custody, but by virtue of doing that, it actually positions you in a priority placement in some of these various different categories. So Josh, do you want to touch on that before we jump into some of the next use cases?
Yeah, and one of the other requirements, and though we put up a lot of different squares and a bunch of our projects in the meantime, the these are kind of just to kind of populate it with the emerging projects. But as we continue to expand and grow and create partnerships, one of the requirements will be to grab your domain for your platform. And so being able to not only just build out an ecosystem of tiles with backlinks, but also being able to pair those with their domain as a requirement for them to be in this ecosystem. And as you know, that you can't have a domain without having some packet. And so now we're building an ecosystem of stakeholders, of people that are actually powering the network, that are participating because they want to be part of this ecosystem and have some skin in the game. And so that becomes really exciting to be able to create all these partnerships, and not just partnerships like, hey, let's go put out a press release and say that we're working together, but being able to really welcome people into this ecosystem, into this community, and being stakeholders in the Packet project.
Yeah, just to talk quickly about what Josh mentioned regarding domains, and we're kind of assuming that everyone was on the X Space last week, but Packet just launched Packet DNS, PKT DNS. It's essentially a domain name registry that's blockchain enabled. It enables anybody to get a web URL. It has no cost, free for life. The only caveat is that you do have to hold PKT, so you have to hold the currency. And the reason that you're holding the currency is because by holding the currency and registering your domain name, it creates an NFT, so like a digital representation of your ownership of that domain name, which stays in your wallet. And you're in custody of that domain name and the PKT that's associated with that NFT until you release it. As soon as you release that, if you say, hey, I don't need this domain name anymore, the PKT goes back in your wallet. You can sell the PKT and have your cash back. So there's no outward expense or transaction. You don't have to pay a registrar. You don't need to pay for privacy. You don't need to pay for renewal fees. You literally get a free for life domain. And with that domain, you can put any type of website up into the Packet network. And that website will be accessible from all web browsers worldwide. This is a lot different than a lot of these other blockchain-based, or pretty much different than all other blockchain-based or alternative DNS systems that require a browser extension or some sort of special software to be installed on your computer to get to those websites. And with the Packet domains, you can access them from a normal website with no issue, which is incredibly powerful. And so what Josh was saying was that for people to add themselves into the hub, the criteria will be that you would go and get, your company name or project name or some actual domain within the Packet network for you to essentially domicile that website on the Packet hub and connect it to. And even if that website is then just going to forward straight over to your .com or .net or .org website, that's totally fine. That's your choice. But you still need to have that kind of digital ownership of a destination within the Packet network.
Yeah, I wanted to just bring Caleb into the conversation about domains. There's obviously, people have created decentralized domains in the past, but I wanted to kind of bring you into the conversation about like what makes this unique and away from the different projects out there.
And also mention the new bounce technology that you just are launching right now.
Yeah, well, I'd rather introduce the technology that I just launched yesterday instead of the technology I'm going to launch in a couple of days. But anyway, so as a refresher, and in case people didn't catch it initially, the way this DNS system works is it's just it's a DNS on the blockchain, which a lot of people have done it. You have Handshake, Unstoppable, ENS, and of course Namecoin, the one that came from around 2011. This project is different because people are staking infrastructure, and the infrastructure is domains that have been registered with the regular domain registrars. So the whole public can access them. And so if you buy packet.com and you stake that, and you'll yield on that stake. If you stake packet.com, and then somebody can go register cjd.packet, and well, they can't because I did, but cjd.packet.com will then go to my website. That is actually my website. And if you type in, we don't have .com, but we have .wiki. So if you type in cjd.pkt.wiki, you'll go to my site, white page with a little text, but it does explain to you what's going on, which is there's about 56 top-level domain names, all that point to your Packet websites. So what that means is that when you register a website on Packet, it becomes public, which is something that's never existed in a blockchain DNS system before. It was always required that you had to install special software, connect to special DNS servers, stuff that most people will never do, which is why, for the most part, these DNS systems never got much use. But this one, because anybody can access it through any one of those top-level domains, we've been live for a week now, and we've got 9 domains there. Oh yeah, he's just scrolling through the list of possible addresses that that you can have, which is 50. There's 56 of them staked right now, and so yeah, that's the domain system. It's highly robust because somebody were to try to take down a domain, they'd have to go to all the top level domains and ask them to take it down. It's highly robust, and it's also like the cheapest, I would say, or the most respectful of the domain buyer out of all these blockchain DNS services, because you get so many of these other services where it's a blockchain domain and you need special software to even use it, but they're still charging you, $10 a year for the domain. And it's like, for $10 a year, I just buy one off of Namecheap, a regular domain that just normally works. But with this one, there is no real cost. You just have to you have to stake some Packet, and the point of that is to prevent people from just land rushing all the domains and what people do what people do, and they buy up thousands of domains thinking that they're going to resell them. So we have a staking requirement in order to slow that down, and the amount that you need to have staked fluctuates based on how many domains are getting registered. But what do we have now? We have 206 registered domains, and that's in a week? Was it 1 week ago that this thing opened to the public? Yeah, so it's been a week, and we've got 206. So that's a nice growth, but it's also slowed down a bit by the fact that when you register, the minimum stake goes up, so that the next person to register is going to have to stake more, just so that we don't have one person going and registering every 3-letter name, every 4-letter name, every 5-letter name, as is typical with domain systems.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, look, the domain system is incredibly robust. I just wanted to clarify one thing for people listening in. By the way, shout out to 8,300 people that are on this stream right now. I think that's one of the biggest, if not the biggest stream that we've done.
Definitely the
Could it be a
biggest.
couldn't it be a better day for everyone to join in, because we're super passionate about this technology and very grateful to have Zach with us, and give Zach another chance in just a moment for you to talk a little about 8flix and kind of what your vision is and what some of the opportunities on the horizon. But I just want to put this one last little point on DNS, which is that it uses what's called a third level domain system or a subdomain system. And so, whereas like if I was to go start a company, let's just call it cats.com. So I would go buy cats.com and that would be my website. With Packet, basically what you're going to do is you're going to come and you're going to get cats.pkt. And again, that's free, free for life. You just put down the minimum stake, whatever that may be. It could be as low as $1, it could be as high as $50, and you're just locking that money up in the form of Packet, and it's connected to your digital ownership and NFT of my ownership of cats.pkt. And the way that this is a third level domain system is that cats.pkt needs one more top level domain represented after it. So I get to pick out of, I think it's 56 or 58 different top level domains that you can scroll through and choose what is the top level domain that I want. So it could be cats.pkt.studio, cats.pkt.live, cats.pkt.58 different options for you to choose. And those would be the three, those would be the words that you would type in to go to your website. Now, what's interesting is that not only that, but your website will also be accessible from all 58. So you would have that kind of resilience of someone technically could go to your website using any one of those different URL extensions. So you just get to choose the one that you want to promote, choose the one you're putting on your business cards, choose the one that you're putting into your promotional materials, but knowing that your website actually does have the resilience to be accessible from all those different top level domains. So that's an incredibly powerful prospect, and just hopefully clarifies how people will use the Packet domain system, and the choice that you're making, right, is it worth paying for cats.com every single year for the rest of your life and for the duration of the life of your business, or is it worth it to have a free for life domain where you don't have to pay every single year? You just literally hold on to the possession of that NFT and you own and control that website forever. The obviously trade-off is that you have a third level domain versus just using just the top level domain. So some people might say, no, I just need cats.com, and that's my website, and I'm going to pay $50 or $100 or $400 a year in perpetuity, and we're fine with that, as well as probably needing to pay for the privacy costs. You have to pay an extra $20 or $30 a month for that. But for people who want to control a domain, don't want to have to pay renewal fees, and want to have a domain that's globally accessible, this is an incredibly powerful tool, and it's the first of its kind where these websites don't need special software to be accessible. And bravo to you, Caleb, for innovating and building something as powerful as this, and opening up to the world. Anyone can get access to it. Just go pop over to the Packet Cash website, pkt.cash, and you can go get your free for life domain.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, so bring it over to you, Zach. Just in your kind of vision from your vantage point, where do you think that the media and entertainment business goes, and how do you feel that you guys can really be impactful in that space?
Gosh, it's a loaded question. I don't have my magic ball in front of me in terms of where I think it will go, but we're certainly got some synergy. I mean, we're building wallet gated content function right now in the application. We've got a 4-month build, and that's the first phase of it. And I think where it needs to go is all about transparency. And I think the film industry in particular, and the music industry as well, is very opaque. So it needs transparency. It needs blockchain technology. Whether the big studios or the big distributors will welcome us in open arms is a entirely separate conversation. But it takes founders like yourself and what we're doing at 8flix to make that first step, and try and bring us in the right direction. But I think maybe it will be a bit of a slow process in order to get there. But it's about making that first step, isn't it? And initially, we are actually going through established distributors to get our content in the short term. But obviously, yes, we would love to be in a position where people are coming to 8flix and submitting the content themselves. But we have to walk before we can run. Rome wasn't built in a day. But going back to the original question, I think transparency is key, and particular for creators, producers. There's a platform called Uvo TV, which launched, I think it was about 2 years ago, actually. Now, any producer can submit their content to that platform, and they were trying to position themselves as a fair platform, shall we say? So, revenue for the creator. But I do think there is a small issue with that, in that the fact that there's just too much content out there, and I do think it needs to be curated. If you take Raindance, for example, which is quite a well-known film festival, I was speaking to the owner the other month, and they get 37,000 submissions a year. 37,000, which is fantastic. But at the same time, that model of taking everything on and just putting it out there is not the kind of model that we want to go down. We want to curate and pick and choose and give people less choice, but better choice, which is why we're looking at smaller license periods. Instead of having content on our platform for 2-3 years, it could be 30 days, it could be 45 days. And that way, what we're trying to eliminate is doom scrolling, because I'm sure everyone on this panel will have sat there on Netflix or Amazon or whatever it may be, and after an hour given up and gone to bed. So we're trying to get rid of that, and that's our sort of little niche, if we say. That's where we think we can make a bit of splash by curating a little bit better of the content.
Right. Yeah, it makes sense.
So how would someone, who's their target like user of your platform? Like who do you want to come to you? Is it content creators, rights holders? Is it in specific regions, or is it global?
Yeah, well, we're starting in India. So I've sat down already with some of the major distributors in India that have the premium content and gone through our business model and asked whether they are happy to deal with us. All thankfully are. So we're starting there. But in terms of who I'm looking to deal with, I mean, it's people that want premium content without the price tag. So I'm probably not going after the iTunes user base, Apple user base, for example, because they don't mind paying a little bit more to not have adverts. You have to accept the fact that at 8flix there will be adverts in between the content. So the likes of Pluto, Plex, Tubi, Rakuten, I would be going after their user base initially. But let's not forget, Web3 is niche. So initially, it's just I'm trying to be the sort of front runner in the space to attract Web3 users that like watching film. But it is niche. There's no doubt about that. But so was Tubi. I think they were bought for 440 million. I think was it in 2020. And before that, a lot of people within the industry, let's say, stuck their nose up at Tubi. They were considered the hoi polloi, the Walmart of digital platforms. Well, they certainly got the last laugh, didn't they? So our goal is to sort of be the front runner and get the community and get the eyeballs in the space, and then we can look at taking on the big boys, so to say. But yes, we're realistic in our approach. We're bringing over 50 years worth of content distribution experience to the team, and hopefully that will make us in good stead.
Yeah, that's great. And so are you guys live right now? Can people go and watch, or do you guys have a launch
We're not
date?
live. We have a gamification process, which is a tap game, which I think's very important to embrace the culture of Telegram and Web3, which is memes and the tap game. So we're using that where people can earn bananas and essentially XP, and we will airdrop whatever you tap nearer to TGE. I'm sure everyone sort of, well, in our community anyway, always asks, when is TGE? When is TGE? It entirely depends on when we get the community into a position where we think we'll have the most successful launch. But we've set ourselves a goal of the end of Q1. So it's good to have something to work towards for sure.
Cool. Well, yeah, really appreciate you coming on and joining the space. And also
thanks for having me.
Joining the ecosystem. How do people? What are kind of the call to action that people can do to learn more?
Well, initially we are looking for ambassadors right now. So we are looking for that first 100 strong ambassador to really fly the flag for us. So please do maybe join the Telegram or check out the website. There's all the information on there, and we're looking for those first 100 ambassadors. There is a royalty scheme reward scheme in place for the work that you do, but that's a sort of focus point for what we're trying to find right now.
Cool. Awesome. Well, yeah, everybody go to check out the hub.pkt.cash and check out the hub. You can find Apeflix on there as a link. And if you have a platform, then you're excited about this, please submit it, and so that it can get placed up there. And also, if you're not in the Packet Telegram, please join that as well. And join in the conversation. Feel free to ask us any questions, and we're happy to engage and bring you into the fold.
Yeah, awesome.
Awesome. Thanks very much for having us, guys.
Yeah, thanks everybody. And yeah, we will we do this every week. So we'll see you guys back here next week, Wednesday, 9 a.m. So thanks everybody. And we'll catch you next time.
Awesome.
Take care all.